Does Karash know anything about like any sort of history regarding a whole boatload of dragons and when the last time that happened? Because I feel like that would be some chatter amongst the dragonkin.
You can make a history check.
I'd actually
Oh, dear
also like
God.
to make a history check on that. If that's
Okay,
cool.
but I also want to
You
go
can make a history check with disadvantage.
back to this.
Okay.
Because if I'm not supposed to know, I will say, I'm sorry, Millicent, you mentioned 3 of them, and I don't want to come off as rude, but we have Grail and Holden. Is there another sibling out there?
And she kind of looks over at you, Grail, and she says, "Have you not told him about Cormac yet?"
And I actually truly, as a player, can't remember if I've mentioned Cormac. I feel like I probably have because I got the banjo from him. But I kind of shake my head and then just say, he died some years ago.
What happened? Did it have to do with the fire?
No, he was ill. It was rather sudden, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But it's in the past. It was just the 3 of us, though, yes.
And Tessin almost interjects, and he's like, when you mentioned the past, and he's like, I'm pretty sure the crib I saw was the one that you and your brothers were kept in, Grail. I suspect whatever I saw was a moment from either your past or your brothers, and he kind of looks at Melissa, and he's like, perhaps your own.
Or my grandmother's, perhaps, since the necklace...
Yeah, Tessia nods, and he's like, did you stay in the same crib? Has it been in the family that long? Millicent.
She says, "No, it was one that we picked up for our 3 kids, but what you're saying does make some sense, if any of this makes any sense."
What did you see in the crib, Tessian?
He kind of shakes his head. He's like, it was hard to see, but there was a child. I could hear it. It was there.
I'm less concerned, I suppose, about the child. And do you remember any details of the area, or maybe someone standing over the crib?
It tells you, like, there was someone there. There was a hand. I couldn't. It was like an image that didn't want to be seen. It was evasive. Anytime you tried to focus, it moved. It shifted.
So I suppose any details, like a ring, would be out of the question.
Tessian racks his head, I guess. I mean, I'm sure the answer is no. But, yeah. It's like, nothing's coming to mind. I'm sorry.
I had 15 for the history check.
I had a 4.
Yeah, not surprisingly, history outside of the Sowenwood, not one of Lena's strongest points. Lots of books about the Sowenwood and the Sowenwood, but the very insular nature of that region means that they don't have a lot of materials on the outside world for you to have read up on, because those would have been tempting for people to leave. Look at all these cool things out there. Don't you want to go check them out?
Yeah.
Nah.
So,
Karash, living on the Blue Isles as you grew up, you remember some of the village elders occasionally mentioning a time when dragons roamed the continent, but not many people had a lot of details about it. They were more like legends that were passed down. And what little that you remember of them and what little details they had then, they were speaking of a time that was hundreds of years ago. Like they had not been seen actively with that kind of frequency on the continent for a long time.
So there's no time in history where it would be like, X year, dragons roamed around Lycidian.
Well, I wouldn't know that anyway, so...
Well, yeah, I'm not really asking for, although it's great if you do know, but, like, is it accepted history to kind of try to pinpoint when this was?
I guess does Tessian know? I mean, he has a history check, I suppose.
The two of you are well read enough to at least know this on a cursory level. Aramean history goes back maybe a little over 1,000 years. are stories and tales of life existing on the continent before that, but whether it's because the people were less developed or something happened to erase any existence of it before that, things kind of cut off there.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Recorded, fully developed Aramean history really only envelops the last 1,100 years or so.
Okay.
Anything before that, again, maybe there was cavemen roaming the area. Maybe there was nothing much happening and people came to it from another continent. It's not really that clear. And most of the people who could have possibly lived long enough to even still tell that tale, because that's a pretty long lifespan, are either long gone or their minds are too far gone to help with that much.
So there's no like dragon age, not to copy the game, but like where this would have been like, oh well, if there's dragons over Lycidian, this must have put it around this range.
There is not.
Okay.
But the fact that it was Lycidian, since Tessian's probably the most read of the group, the fact that it was Lycidian puts it somewhere in that time span. It's not before it. A city of Lycidian stature did not exist in the whatever the pre-recorded era was.
So I do know that much, though. I do know that there was a time when Lycidian was built, supposedly.
Yeah,
like,
when was it founded?
Yeah.
This is Chris. Just tell us off the top of your head, please, what year Lycidian was founded.
I guess what Tessian's trying to piece together in his head, like, does he think that this was an event that happened in the time of Lycidian, or if like perhaps Lycidian is far older than people think? Like that's I guess what Tessian's trying to place in his head based off what he knows.
Lycidian is the oldest and most well-developed city in Aramea, and as such, its roots span back to nearly the coalescence of written and oral history developing.
So is there a chance that it actually like it's a relic of before history that's kind of survived into recorded history?
That's what Tessian's thinking, I'll tell you that much. Whether or not that's what history tells him or not, that's what he's starting to think.
That is a possibility, yes, but
Motherfucker. Okay. That's cool. I like that. That's very Mass Effect. Okay.
not
You
to
gotta
delve
plug
too
other brands
deeply.
when you're on our station, really? You gotta-
Yeah. It's also possible that that is a different Lycidian.
Yeah, right. I mean, sure.
Oh God, there's another world that we're going to walk into,
Which could
parallel
mean
to
then
ours,
that it
but-
wouldn't necessarily match with any tracking of that Lycidian's history.
Yeah.
I'm dragons have not flown together in large numbers for a very long time.
And Tessie nods, and he's like, and the fact that I saw Lycidian was interesting. Either Lycidian is far older than I suspect, or it's, I don't know, not the Lycidian we know.
And I don't mean to grill you, Tessian. I want to make what happened worth it. And you said you saw a field that with fire and smoke in the distance. A field doesn't give us a lot to go off of. Is it any discerning characteristics?
Chris, I'm pretty sure your description was specifically no, but like I didn't see any mountain ranges in the background or anything like that.
Make a history check.
I'm proficient in this. There's a chance. 8.
Detective Isaac is on the case. But he can't trust the witness.
It's like the stupid detective game. We had to watch my face the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
But we're here just like,
L.A. Noir.
yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. And I just look around,
Doubt.
like at the corner.
I loved those, especially the early cases when the tells were just so fucking obvious. the very first one, like she gives you a description and she starts going like, and you're like, I wonder if she's telling the truth. I wonder. 8. 8 is so low.
It's so. I mean, did I at least like see any geography that I could describe to him that like I can't place, or anything of the sort?
I would say between the two of you, you're both smart and well-read. I will at least give you this much. The most likely possibility, at least, especially from what you guys know, is Still Valley. Still Valley is the place where the mana cannon hit during the War of Calamity, and it basically razed the entire area. Anything before that or any other places besides that they would probably be too far back to have any meaningful intel on.
And so Tessian's like, well, I don't know that I can place where it was, but it was reminiscent of the destruction people describe from the mana cannon. Can say that much. Although whether it was history or something to happen, I suppose remains to be seen.
How long ago was that? Kind of for
40 years.
For the viewer and also myself. 40 years, okay.
Yeah. And Tessian's just, I'm sorry, Isaac. I wish I could get more. It was extremely disorienting, to say the least. It was like I was viewing these places remotely. I wasn't there myself. They were simply in front of me. It was a strange sensation, to be sure.
Don't apologize. As someone who is still getting the hang of reading people's memories down, I understand how it can be disorienting. I just wish there was more, and doesn't even start to answer the question of why. What was the reason you saw these three different images? What's the connection? What's the perspective?
Well, there were a lot of images, Isaac, but I could only make out so many. They moved so fast. It was like a sea of imagery in a way. It was chaotic. Some of them weren't even full. They were just, I can't say static because that's not like a thing. So it was like a blizzard. Like a blizzard, a snowstorm of some sort. I don't know. And he just drinks his water.
No, we'll let you rest up. Grail, these visions of what happened or what's to come or from another world entirely was from a necklace. Looks like the one that you have, that Tessian's wearing now, located under your house. There are lines out there that I can't connect.
I'm in the same boat as you. I might be even more confused than you, and it sounds like this has roped me into it in some form or fashion.
Well, I suppose we let Tessian rest up, and we set out for we were going back to the lady, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we set out to find. Forgot her name too.
Lorraine de Grey.
Lorraine.
At some point, Tessian, I think, is going to sort of pull Grail aside and ask if Grail can, or maybe even Millicent, but Grail at first, and say, could I see the room? Could you show me your brother's rooms in your own? He wants to try to see if he can put together, if not the crib, the room that it was in.
And I nod and I say, yes, I think for the most part they're mostly unchanged. I actually don't know about Cormac's room, though, Chris.
So Cormac's room has long since been repurposed into an office. It's one of the ones on the first floor, actually.
Okay.
But you can show him around easily enough.
Yeah, and I know that Holden's room was locked. I went in there recently, so it's unlocked now. And then obviously I can show you my room as well.
Any chance Tessian can put together just the general shape of the rooms at all? Is there, any chance? I guess.
Make an investigation check.
on intel.
And while Tessian's doing this, I'm just kind of like watching with my arms sort of crossed, just like looking at Tessian, trying to see if I can like recognize any familiarity in his eyes as he's looking around.
7.
Ah.
I'm so dumb. I'm not even that dumb. I have +2 intelligence.
No, you're disoriented.
Yeah.
It's difficult to describe, but the best way to go about it is basically this. There is this sort of like faint gut feeling when you see the interior of Grail's room. That perhaps the size of it, from best you can remember from the vision, the orientation of where the crib would have been at that time, though obviously it is not there now, that it could be a match, but
It's like a deja vu.
kind of, but you really, like, you didn't have a great sense of it in that moment, and now you're still, you know, kind of reeling from the experience and trying your best to piece together what you saw now. It's there, it's faint, but it's by no means certain.
Tessie just kind of holds the necklace that's still on him and looks to Grail and is like, I think I saw you, Grail. Or maybe, and he kind of looks into the room and he's just like, maybe another Grail.
And I kind of just like, I kind of shrug a little aggressively, and I'm like, I cannot wrap my mind around any of this. I don't understand why. I don't know what I have to do with any of it. Another me? What does that even mean? I don't doubt what you saw, and I don't doubt your feelings and your intuition, Tessian. It's not that at all. This is far beyond anything I could have ever imagined.
And Tessian just sort of nods and gives you a look of like, you know, just, he's sorry. And he's just like, I'd originally thought that maybe the necklaces, 2 necklaces, meant that we were looking at different time frames or something, but maybe the necklace wasn't the only thing that came through. And maybe that is why you see these things from time to time.
That has been a piece I've been increasingly worried about. Chris, just like for me and for the listeners, is the shimmery thing that was going on with Tessian similar to the shimmery effects that I was seeing, that we were all seeing when we were in the tunnels, or were they different looking in appearance?
It's vaguely similar to what happened when you touched that wall that wasn't actually there. It's sort of like a rippling out from the point of contact, but even then this was much more intense and encompassing than that was. There wasn't any sign of like, from what you saw at least from looking at him, there wasn't any sign of like that gold, silver, kind of like cascading, glittery type effect though.
Okay. I kind of like stare out into my room and kind of just, I don't really say anything to Tessian, and then I turn to him and I say, well, I guess we're putting the pieces together one way or another. Whether those pieces are backwards, inside out, I have no idea. But I guess we'll find out in due course, maybe.
And Tessian kind of puts a hand on her shoulder and looks her in the eyes, and he's like, you know, Grail, this would be a lot for anybody, but I'm glad it's you. You're handling this a lot better than most. Especially for just a farm girl from here. And
I kind of laugh, almost like mockingly at myself, and I kind of just say, I think it's because I don't understand. I think it's more that I don't know what any of this means for me to even really understand what it could mean. But there's nothing we can do about it at this juncture, right? I mean, all we can do is keep searching for answers.
And he just kind of grips your shoulder a little bit and gives you a nod, and is like, yeah, and you'll have us all here to help figure it out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, the things that you were saying, you and Isaac kind of going back and forth about universes and the world and traveling through time, it's not something that would come to my mind initially or at all, really. And it helps to know that there are people like you around me and that we can figure this out together.
And he nods. He's, I can't say that the sort of things that one ever wants to deal with or tackle, but magic is a strange, strange thing. And he kind of looks down at the necklace. He's like, I hope you don't mind if I keep this for a little bit.
I kind of like, not like back away, but like do like a little like gesture and just kind of say, no, I insist actually that you keep it for the time being. Just hold on to it for me.
Yes, I'm concerned what might happen if I remove it. I don't know if maybe maybe a part of me will always remain unstuck from here.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. But I will say that it looks mighty fine on you, Tessian.
And yes, well, good. It may have to be here for a while.
Well, it's on permanent lend then.
And he nods. He's like, thank you. And he kind of pats you on the shoulder. He's like, well, let's get to bed. Let's call it a night. I think I need some rest.
And
yeah,
as Tessian removes his hand from your shoulder, Grail, you feel this jolt. It feels like it's coming from the direction of the other necklace. You take 3 points of necrotic damage.
oh my god.
Of the other... Okay, so the bad necklace,
Correct.
which is where now?
Wherever she's got it in the mage hand still, whether that's up with her or downstairs.
Oh, wow.
Whatever direction that is, as Tessian
Okay.
puts his hand on your shoulder and then removes it, you feel this sudden, like, just slight jolt. Kind of like when you get shocked if you shuffle your feet and then touch a doorknob. Just kind of like a,
And I kind of like overact that, and I kind of just go like, ah, like I kind of like just shout a little bit, and I kind of like back away from Tessian, and I'm like, and I kind of look, and I'm guessing if I had it in Mage Hand, I kind of was taking it with me through the house, which is really weird, but like, I mean, I'm not gonna like let it out of my sight, and so I still have it, I guess. And I kind of like look at it, and I'm like, something just happened. And I kind of like look at my hands, look at my body, and I say, something dark. Sounds like kind of what you were trying to describe when you came to. I'm like, I don't feel so good.
God, Tessie feels really bad. He kind of holds his hand, and he kind of just pokes you. You know how you do when you are static clinged and you want to like, yeah. And he kind of has this face of like, oh God, I hope this isn't the case.
Yeah.
But he pokes her. Just poke. Anything?
you feel this jolt of energy, Grail. And I need you to make an intelligence saving throw, please. Today is the saving throw episode of the Anachroschism.
Yes, it is. 11.
Even in just that brief moment where Tessian very hesitantly pokes you, as soon as his finger leaves your body, you feel that same kind of just really quick, unsettling current. It's 2 points of necrotic damage. And again, your attention is pulled towards the, well, I guess what we'll just call for this ease of access, defiled necklace.
And I kind of make another like kind of gesture, and I'm like, there's something's going on between the necklace that you're wearing and the one here, and it's I don't know, I don't feel great.
You feel this kind of pull, as if the necklace is almost calling out to you.
It's the One Ring.
But after a moment passes, you kind of shrug it off, and you're not even necessarily sure if that's what you felt for sure or not.
Oh God. Is there like a noticeable change in her at all? Like, is the necrotic damage doing anything, or does she look paler, or like can Tessian see this, or is this just her being like, oh, it hurts? Like,
You can see her reacting, but there's not, like, even if you're watching where you're touching her because you're kind of curious about the sciencey aspect of this, you don't see anything noticeable when you remove your finger from her arm. It's just you pull it off and she kind of jolts in that spot as if she's feeling something, but you don't see anything. There's no like visible or magical aspect to it. You can just tell that that's the origin of it, if that makes sense. Like, it's when you pull your hand back, it's her arm that kind of is what jostles out of place.
I wonder if it's. I guess I can do it as Grail. I wonder if I'm bonded to both necklaces in some way, and anyone else who interacts with them.
and Tessian's like, I might be disrupting something that's supposed to be happening, like an extra ingredient that doesn't belong. Me wearing this, I mean.
I don't understand. I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated, but also I'm like kind of feeling icky, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on at all. I don't want you to take off the necklace there. I feel like we're in a bit of a bind.
And he's like, perhaps it's just better that I not touch you for a little bit.
Yeah, well, at a minimum, I would agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything Tessian can piece together, like Arcana-wise, that might make sense of this? Some sort of... I don't know. Even I feel bad trying to make a check. So...
I will say... What's
go
up?
ahead.
Make an Arcana check.
I was just thinking, like, if Tessian, like, slowly tries to take off the necklace that he's wearing, if anything would happen.
Jason, why are you rolling like Jason today?
It was like, oh, look, at 19, F, you have a 3. And I was like, cool. Why am I here? I'll just go fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, having experienced some of this firsthand, there's no doubt there's some kind of connection here, but between the overall fatigue, the weariness that still accompanies you from this effect that's still lasting, you're just not able to piece it together that well.
Yeah. He's just kind of gives Grail a nod. It's sort of like a, well, I'm going to wait for you to leave because I'm not moving until you go anywhere.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to bump into you at the doorway at this point. Like, who the hell knows?
Yeah. I'm gonna, like, kind of inch by you. I don't really want any contact with you. And I just say, I think I'm gonna ask the others how to contain the other necklace for now, because I think dragging it around is probably not for the best.
Tessian's like, the box, perhaps.
Yeah, but we saw what happened when it was contained in there for a long period of time.
Yes, but that could be what broke the connection, and that's why this sort of thing never happened before.
It's fair. It's true. I mean, it's a good point. All right, I'm going to take it downstairs and out to the front. I don't know where everyone else is, but did we leave the box outside?
Yeah, I don't think we moved it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tessian picked it up at one point after it exploded to kind of look around at it and stuff. I don't remember if you guys said what you did with it or not.
I don't think we
Doesn't matter
picked
a
it up.
ton.
I'm gonna take the necklace out to it, and I'm gonna, crouch down in front of the box that's like sitting out in the out front, and just very gingerly drop it into the box.
This is all with Mage Hand.
Yep.
Okay. So, with the spectral hand in tow and the necklace not far behind in its grasp, you head outside to where you guys left the box. You can still sort of see the blast radius, as it were. There's still like grass underneath, but you can kind of tell that a little bit of it's been affected by this necrotic energy that seeped out at one fell swoop. But you're able to pick up the box, open it again, drop the necklace inside.
Okay, and I'm gonna, with after I drop it with the mage hand, I'm gonna take the mage hand and make it go boop, and close the box with the tip of his finger.
Okay. Box is closed.
Okay.
Once it's closed, Tession's gonna kind of walk up behind you and like gently like tap the back of her shoulder.
Okay. Grill, as you're focused on your task, you kind of forget about Tession for a second, and as his hand touches your shoulder, you feel this jolt of necrotic energy.
Great.
Damn.
Take
The
3
science
points
is
of
gonna kill
necrotic
you.
damage. As once again, that just really quick unsettling feeling pulses through you and then seemingly dissipates.
I kind of like whip around. I'm like, all right, I think we can stop doing that now.
And
Tessian, I think I'm going to stop touching you for a while. Also, Tessian, boop.
I know.
and he's like, sorry, I wasn't, and he turns around to Isaac, who he knows is just gonna be unhappy about this fact. I assume Isaac's followed us out here to watch this, or no?
Did you go back by us? Because you guys were on your own.
They did, yes.
Okay, then yeah, probably.
I probably
And I
would've
probably would
gone
ask,
out,
what are
too.
you doing? So,
And
Yeah.
so it's, I don't know. Tession's just like, well, it looks like I can't touch Grail. Something
Can't
about the
touch
cursed,
Grail.
there's something about the cursed necklace seems to pull at her, or harm her, or something every time we make physical contact.
Okay, I touched
Yeah, it ain't great.
Tessian. It's like, that's weird. I touched Tessian. I touched Grail. I'm
There
assuming
starts a
nothing
slap
is
fight on
happening.
the outside.
But I'm like, I'm fine. But you're saying when you two touch, she gets hurt.
And indeed,
That's right.
you can put your hand on Tessian, and even though you're both kind of bracing yourself, Tessian especially, because he's a little unsure what the hell's happening, nothing happens when you touch Tessian. You reach over and touch Grail, and Grail already kind of flinches instinctively at this point, but nothing happens.
And I touch them both at the same time for a current.
Nothing seems to happen.
God, I wanted you to get punished there so badly.
All 3 of your heads explode.
Oh!